Today, I'm going to be talking about how dates are set automatically in Project Insight using the intelligent scheduling feature. Create a new task. Let's give it 5 days. Save it. The date is automatically set to one of two dates, either today's date, which is the 26th of February, or the project start date. This is determined by whichever of these two dates is later. The reason for this is when a project is already started and you want to add a new task, you don't want to have to manually set the date on it every time. So it'll set the date for today, which happens to be later than the project start date. Now you can actually change this by clicking on the task to edit it, going to the leftmost column, and clicking the Task Options button. And as you can see under Constraint Type, the default is ASAP after task created date. So this constraint is what's causing the date to automatically be set to today. Now we can change this. We can say ASAP after project start, save the task, and as you can see, it defaults to the project start date, which is the 17th of February. Another way that tasks get their date automatically set is when you create a predecessor for that task. So we can create a predecessor for this new task. Click Edit Predecessors. We'll say the predecessor task for new task is predecessor task under summary task 2. We'll click Save Task. And as you can see now, new task begins on the 25th, which is the same day that predecessor task ends. You'll also notice that when I did this, the summary task changed its dates. This is because summary tasks receive their dates from their child tasks. However, summary tasks can also be used to change the schedule if it has a predecessor that forces it forward. This generally isn't recommended as it's not a Project Management Institute or PMI standard, but you can still do it. Another way that a task can have its dates changed is if you manually change the date. So for this, we'll click on New Task to edit it, and then we'll change the start date to, let's say, April 25th rather than March 25th. And we'll have it end on May 1st rather than April 1st. We'll click Save. And if we go into the constraints on this, we'll see that the constraint type changed to must start on because we manually set the date. However, if I change this constraint type back to the default, which is after task created date, we can see that it returns to following its predecessor task. To summarize, when you set a task, by default, its date is set to either project start date or today's date, whichever is later. Predecessors push it into the future. You can add manual constraints, such as setting the task to start on a specific date, and summary tasks can push other tasks, but we don't recommend it. And that's how intelligent scheduling works in Project Insight.